Welcome to Omaha Spit. This is it. It's a stretch of land which is effectively a barrier between the open sea and the Whangatau harbour. Now it's here that some very special shorebirds feed, roost and breed. Until recently, it's been a pretty cool haven for these birds. But all that is changing rapidly. You know, there are many threats and many disturbances for these poor little shorebirds. For instance, encroaching urbanization makes this natural spit smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, most of our shorebirds are not just native, they're actually endemic. That means they only occur here in Aotearoa in New Zealand. And some of them are pretty rare. Some of them are vulnerable. Some of them are actually threatened with extinction. So if we want to do something about this spit, we've got to act now, right now. The development of Omaha over the past 20 years has put significant pressure on the shorebird's habitat and way of life. Disturbance is one of the main causes of breeding failure, and without the proper protection, these incredible shorebirds could become locally extinct. And such extinction would be seen as an unfortunate part of Omaha's history. Nationally, Omaha Spit is of significant importance as it holds one of the largest post-breeding flocks of New Zealand dotterel. It is absolutely vital that we look after this piece of land.
It's essential to maintain the Whangatau harbour in as good a condition as we can. It's the most natural of our mainland estuaries in the Auckland region for a start, and it's partly like that way because there hasn't been a lot of development around it, and where there has been substantial development on land like on Omaha Spit and at Point Wells, it's all on very low-lying sandy soils, and there's not much in the way of a serious problem of runoff of silt. One of the reasons why we have so many shore wading birds living on the spit here is because of the resource of the food in this harbour, and keeping it healthy for the birds is also important.
Human intervention, I think, is a reality now. There may be areas of coastline where these birds live that are relatively predator-free, but it's not really a reality here. You know, we're very close to the houses. There are a lot of cats that live in the Omaha township. There are people with dogs that like to walk their dogs daily, and they would love to walk them down here if there was no barrier to that. There's all sorts of things. We absolutely have to work to protect these birds.
The Omaha predator-proof fence was built across the spit in 2012. The funds for this project were raised by the Omaha Shorebird Protection Trust and the community. This fence not only has created a shorebird sanctuary in relative safety, it also indicates that behind this fence is an area of extreme importance, a natural treasure.
When people are going onto the spit, they generally go through the gates at either end of the predator fence, and we have, in the breeding time anyway, we have the areas where the birds are nesting sort of marked off with tapes, and we want to make sure people don't encroach in those areas. They should keep down as far on the shore as possible, not to disturb.
Most people will be familiar with the exotic predators that have an impact on our native wildlife. It's the usual lineup of rodents like rats and mice, as well as mustelids, such as stoats, ferrets and weasels. They're nocturnal hunters that show no mercy and kill everything that's of the right size and shape. Don't underestimate your cuddly pets. Cats left to roam at night will certainly kill birds and other wildlife. And make no mistake, Omaha has a substantial population of domestic felines that will lurk and hunt in the dead of night. Ironically, there are also some native predators that can destroy Omaha's birds, especially the young ones. Black-backed gulls have never passed up on a newborn dotterel chick, and they'll gobble them up as if they were hors d'oeuvres. It's not good for the dotterel population, don't you agree? Black-backed gulls are attracted to discarded human food, fish and chips, rubbish, but also by burley, chicken waste, offal thrown into the sea to lure the big fish inshore. And what's more, these gulls form an aerial attack squad that is not stopped by a fence.
When I come out and check the traps, I'm checking to see if the trap has been sprung or not. Is there an animal being caught in the trap? If there is, we take the animal out and reset the trap. Also, has the bait been disturbed? So is the egg still intact? So the Trust are doing a really vital job. They're out here doing the actual trapping and monitoring of the birds and filling in places where the department is not resourced to be able to actually do this work. So they play a vital role in the protection of these endangered species for all of us in New Zealand.
Since the birds have been protected, the numbers, the total population has steadily increased. So we are doing some good, and we perhaps prevented them becoming seriously endangered. Well, you know, it's something that we'll have to keep doing, because the minute we stop, the minute this sort of falls apart, then the birds again, the population will readily decline.
This Omaha Spit is a brilliant little paradise. It is a really important place too for these birds. Here they feed, they nest, and they roost. You know what? You got to admire their tenacity, really. I mean, every year they come back. They make their nest, they lay their eggs, they try to rear their chicks, defend them against predators, and really are fighting a huge, huge battle. You got to think about that. They do it all the time. I truly hope you'll join the efforts of our trust, because for these beautiful shorebirds, it's a race against time.